Hello and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Terri Morrow and I'm here with Catherine Haleko. Say hi, Catherine.
Hello.
Usually on this podcast we talk about parenting issues, but once a week Catherine and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. This week we're going to be talking about The West Wing and watching some Phineas and Ferb for our challenge round. But first, Dancing with the Stars. It was movie night, and it kind of ended up being a tragedy.
It was a tragedy, a double elimination. And
yeah, well, only one of the eliminations was tragic.
Right, one was tragic, one was like...
One of them I was perfectly fine with.
A happy ending for us.
That's right. Oh, dear. Yes, so...
So, Nancy, we'll miss you.
Yes, I was very, very sad to see Nancy go. She was my rooting interest and is now no more. But, I'm not sure what sort of fan base she had particularly. I mean, she had competition for the Olympian slot. She has not really been doing all that much in recent years. I liked her dancing quite a lot, but it was certainly less flashy than what some of the younger and more... exuberant contestants could do. Well, I would have liked to see her stay certainly longer than Bonner and probably longer than David.
Yeah.
But still, I think she did a very respectable job.
Yeah, I thought that the dance that they did, the first one, their couple dance, she was just so
lovely.
She was so graceful and it was just very pretty and enjoyable to watch.
And she finally got a package where she wasn't eating herself up. See, this is what happens. You let your guard down for a minute and they kick you out. But she got my votes, so I don't know. And I do not know who is voting for Bonner. If it's just Sharna Nation supporting her no matter what, or he actually has backup. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that the live voting was evidence of who's got a fan base, because Rashad was clearly miles better than David in their dances. Yeah. I think even David would admit that. Yet the score was very, very close. So clearly David's got a lot of people voting for him. I've been seeing lately people wondering, are the Cubs fans really still voting? Or baseball fans really care? Well, apparently they do, because they were voting pretty hard, as was I. But I think realistically of who's going to make it, or who should be making it to the finals, I think I'm switching my allegiance to Rashad.
Yeah, that's who I'm thinking.
Underwhelmed by the women.
I enjoy him. I think he's...
Yeah, I do.
He's fun, and I mean, the whole thing where they did the horror movie, they had to come up with a story, and it was silly, but it was kind of cute, and it was fun that they're like, go for it, go come up with a movie idea, and he's like, I got a notebook full of them, I'm ready. And I liked that.
He was very charming. Cute, yeah, and their dance was good, and in the what do we call them? The competition there at the end. The dance-off, he was just having a great time and looking very smooth. Yeah, he looked great. So, yes. So I will continue to vote for David because old people, solidarity. But I will give the second largest amount of votes to Rashad. And probably once the phone calls get going, maybe a little more than that. So, I mean, Simone is adorable, but I voted for a gymnast last season and she's not as fun to watch as Lori was. Although their Charleston
that was really
very
cute.
Adorable.
I liked that a lot.
And Normani, I'm sorry, you're what, 20, 21? You don't get the, this is so hard. I'm injuring myself by all this hard work I'm doing. There are people who have a legitimate gripe. Maybe it didn't seem to be like there was a specific injury due to a specific move. It seemed like, gee, this dancing is really hard on me. And she's been flying all over the place. So yeah, it's hard. But if you can't do that when you're 20 or 21 or whatever it is she is,
you do it?
When are you ever going to be able to do it? Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's shaping up to be an interesting season. Apparently, it's the popularity contest is making itself felt, I think, quite a lot, which is fine. That's what the show is, So I will continue to vote for David because this is a popularity contest.
David and Rashad.
And Rashad. David and Rashad, I think I'm going for the guys, even though I think Rashad has a really good chance of being in the finals. If David's in the finals, then they're going to have to rethink how they do this, I think, for future
when they were...
Because there's going to be a whole lot of people that are going to be ticked off.
When they were head-to-head in the dance-off, it was extremely clear.
Yeah, exactly. I would like Bonner to go before him. I'd like David to stay as long as he reasonably can without it being just really egregious.
That point is coming.
Yes, that point may already actually have passed,
right.
But of the three, I mean, of Nick, Bonner, and David, I enjoy watching David the most.
Far.
So, what was the dance that Bonner was supposed to have been doing in that Western thing at the beginning?
Doble.
Paso doble. Because I think there was no dance contest in that at all. The judges spotted a few steps, but I was watching it with my husband and going, they're just play acting. Right. Where's the dance? Aren't they going to start dancing at some point? And it also reminded me, was it last season James and somebody else did a really cute Western dance that was very, very, very similar, but of course 10 times more adorable because he was in it and the other person was also. I can't remember who the other one was. It was the football player or if it was somebody else.
Either, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but it was very much on the same theme. And also
with Sharna. The best part of that was the very beginning when they all stood up from the table and they all were synchronized and like turning from side to side.
Yes.
And that part I enjoyed, but that was like 10 seconds.
Fun to watch, but also not dancing.
No.
I mean, that's. I was very impressed that he jumped up on the table, but then he couldn't jump down. They had to help him down, I guess, because of his injuries, maybe. But and my husband goes, that table's not so high. I could jump up on that table. In your dreams. But
it's just like the room where it happens.
Exactly. Yes, that's what I was thinking of. But he has to do that. Whoever plays that character has to do that every night and, twice on some days.
And then he has to jump up and get the tablecloth yanked out from under his feet, which Bonner didn't do.
And I bet he also jumps down.
Yeah, I think so.
So, who else made an impression on you?
I mean, we talked about Simone and Sasha because I thought that their Charleston was really, really fun and it was cute, and it was nice that they weren't trying to be sexy and for once, like...
Such a relief.
That was very nice. And, David and Lindsay with their, like, goofy salsa. It was like a Mad Lib, like... Your genre is sci-fi. Your dance is salsa. Like, okay, But, he's a good sport to, like, wear that crazy outfit and makeup. And and there was a little bit of salsa in it, I would say. And there was some cute little moves in it. So...
Yes, and I'm happy that he had a having fun package again. He's had sort of a dour one the last 2 weeks, and so he's back to... Although he seemed a little stressed during the scoring and stuff.
Right,
but,
and then they showed his kids, and his son was so not paying attention. They're like, it's his birthday. He's not looking at all.
And his mom goes, hey.
Look alive, kid.
Yes. Real children. This is what real children look like, folks. I was noticing, I forgot to mention last week, that obviously the memo went around to please find smiling people in the audience because the people last week were smiling like maniacally.
We are following the rules.
Like they had said, if you do not smile when you sit down, there will be an electric shock in your chair or something. This week, I saw a few frowns and bored looks, including apparently David's kids, but it was still better.
Yeah.
They need to do, like, what is it? I guess Hamilton saves the first 2 rows for people who get the $10 tickets, so they're really psyched to be there. They need to do something like that for Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
They need to go out to the line of people who are waiting on the standby line and bring them in and put them in the front and just tell the cameraman, go to them every time.
Right, because they're probably putting them up in the, like, 5th balcony.
Yes. So, another week goes by. The double elimination is not fun. And the dance-offs are not fun. This doesn't seem fair.
Yeah.
But there really was no way to match them up fairly.
And it's hard because, there's all this, like, you gotta vote. And, how many people are watching it live and in the right time zone? And then there's so much pressure. Like, I'm like, I feel bad. I'm sorry, Tom. Stop yelling at me. But I wasn't home. I'm watching the recording, okay?
In no case was the audience vote decisive.
Yeah.
In every case, the audience vote agreed with the judge's majority. So it was sort of a non-starter. But it did make you feel briefly that you were doing something.
Well,
useful.
And it's also another one of those, like, okay, it was the scores from last week and the votes and the phone calls from last week and then the scores from this week, and then you were supposed to be calling during the show, but only during the dance-off? Or were you voting, like, also during the, like, once again, it's so
It is.
intricate.
Somebody needs to audit those scores. I would like to see transparency.
Yes.
But because you never really know what sort of percentage people are getting in votes. So.
No, I mean, we need like a PowerPoint that lays out exactly with real numbers. Here is how many phone calls.
Seems like the technology exists for that. But possibly they don't really want you to know.
No, I'm sure they don't.
Yeah, and then you get into, well, they find out who's getting the most votes, and then if they don't like them, then they give them bad scores or stupid songs or, rig it against them. I don't know.
Yeah.
That is what the conspiracy theory is.
That's right.
So it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here. I do dearly hope that Bonner leaves our presence at some time soon.
Yeah.
Peter looked not happy tonight. Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
Either something physically or partnery was bothering her.
Right.
I don't know if he just ticked her off in some way or she was in pain.
She's like, I'm so done with this.
She had a look on her.
He's just...
Exactly. She had a I give no bleeps look all night.
He's just so drippy. Like, there's just nothing there, Like,
yeah.
Let's just move on.
I think he did a respectable job. I did not hate him. And I was primed to.
Mm-hmm.
So, good for you, Nick. You were completely neutral. So, you were neither loved nor hated.
Right.
And that's probably a step up for you, dude.
And
so
now you can go home.
Go home and let's start the countdown on how long the engagement lasts. Now that you're off TV. But wish you well.
Right.
So, all right. Well, I guess we can move on to the West Wing episode. We watched the West Wing episode Ways and Means. Mm-hmm. We are still keeping up with the West Wing Weekly podcast, and that was their episode for this week.
Right.
And I misspoke last week. This is indeed the episode in which Donna, quote, gets a boyfriend, unquote, although sort of. But
so
I think this is the episode they were referring to. Yeah, he recurs.
Okay.
And I assume this is what they were referring to. I can't think of another boyfriend Donna gets this season. Mm-hmm. So, but you know what? IMDb calls this the 4th episode, whereas I think that all reasonable people have agreed that that Isaac and Ishmael is episode 0. Mm-hmm. And that therefore this is the 3rd episode. So that's why I was thinking it was the 4th. I looked it up. It was the 4th episode, but no, in fact, it was this one. So, always nice. Now, I was going to say the name of the actor, except Josh Malina said it in a way I have never heard it said before, and I cannot recreate that. I want to say like Mark Feuerstein, who played Cliff Kelly. I've always said Feuerstein, is it not? But he said something much more complicated.
He said it more like
so.
Firestein.
I don't know. I apologize in advance to him and everybody who knows how to pronounce his name correctly. The guy from Royal Pains is what I'm going to call him from now on.
There you go.
That guy.
Or just call him
the guy
Cliff.
from Royal Pains and a whole bunch of failed shows before that.
Right.
But I always liked him. He's cute. I remember him from... Did you ever watch the show Once and Again?
No.
Oh, he played a very, very young doctor who was dating one of the characters. Rode his bicycle everywhere and was eventually jilted, but...
He reminds me of the guy from Parenthood who was married to Erica Christensen, but it's not him.
Yeah, a little bit. I see the resemblance, but not the same. Mostly, I think lately he's known... You didn't watch any USA shows, so you wouldn't have watched Royal Pains, right?
No.
He was in that for a number of years. I will have to find an episode of that for us to watch for the challenge round. Mm-hmm. That was one of the many enjoyable procedurals in the USA stable. Not flashy, but a good way to spend an hour on any particular day. So anyway, yes, he was cute in a Sorkin-y way, and he will be back.
Okay. He left in a hurry when he realized.
He did when he realized
the connection. Which wouldn't he have known that before? Like when Ainsley set them up, it was.
Well, I think it was all still breaking. I mean, it was still with the special prosecutor then, right? This whole gambit of CJs was still working its way out. And he was also working for a different department. And then he as he realized he got traded, and then he thought about the boxes, and he realized that him being traded meant that probably the investigation was going there. Mm-hmm. I think it all just sort of dawned. You just have to let art wash over you in that way. But it was cute. You know who was not cute? You know what we had a prime example today of the not cute way that Sorkin writes women, thinking that it's cute, I guess, is Connie saying over and over something like, I have an exceptional mind. Nobody talks like that.
Not at all. And wasn't this the same episode where Bruno said that CJ had a smoking hot body?
Yes,
or
exactly.
Something?
Nobody says that who does not want to be immediately served with a sexual harassment suit either, buddy.
I know.
Yes. CJ takes it in her stride because she's fabulous, but still, no. And I don't, that's one of those things, it's like, that would not happen in real life.
No. Certainly not.
I think not. But it is nice seeing CJ being on her game again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Whether, as Babish suggested, maybe she was trying a little bit too hard to get back in the game, but it doesn't matter because watching her manipulate the press was so enjoyable.
It was a lot of fun. Exactly.
I love her little bit with Ainsley where she's coaching her on what to say.
Now shake your head a little bit. Okay. Yeah, you don't have to keep shaking your head. That's good.
That was fun. I totally agree with what they were saying on the West Wing Weekly podcast, that there is more chemistry in a 30-second Sam and Ainsley scene than in several Sam and Connie scenes.
Yeah,
it just ain't there.
It's not there. I agree.
Yeah. So I wish they had been able to keep Ainsley around because I thought she adds something.
Mm-hmm. And this is the first we've seen her in this season, right?
I think so. I thought I saw her like maybe in the background somewhere before, but it probably wasn't her because I don't think they would have paid her for that. Mm-hmm. But so it was nice to see her again.
Yeah.
And don't get too attached because CSI Miami is coming around the bend somewhere. But she was always fun to watch, and the two of them are fun together. Mm-hmm. So this is mostly just kind of putting chess pieces in place this episode. And the whole estate tax plot is kind of,
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, as they said in the West Wing Weekly, like,
yes,
it comes up every time,
Yeah.
And it's just like one of those things that kind of every administration or every Congress decides, hey, we got to do something about this.
Exactly. I did enjoy the scene where Toby was revving himself up to go in and compromise.
Right, and then the meeting was canceled.
And then he got deflated. It's like, wait a minute, we could compromise a little more. So this was an enjoyable episode. What's for next week? I didn't write it down. Do you know?
It is called On the Day Before.
Oh, okay. Again, I don't remember anything about that, so I will
look forward to.
Yes, the next one I really, really remember is the one where Leo is testifying. I'm trying to think what the name of that one was. That was a very good episode.
Okay.
But other ones may be good as well. Mm-hmm. So for our challenge round this week, you challenged me to watch Phineas and Ferb, which is, well, I watched it on Netflix, but it's a Disney channel?
A Disney XD, which is just one of their spin-off channels. An animated series that debuted in 2007, and then it went on to run for, I think, 7 or 8 years on Disney Channel, and there were a couple movies, which, they're not in my opinion, as good as the just regular episodes. But it is just I enjoy it because it's just a funny little show that appeals to all ages, and the music is great.
Yes, I was just going to say that I really enjoyed the songs. They were hilarious. I was looking up on IMDb to try to find out if there was somebody recognizable who had done them, and I didn't. It seemed like it was the same people who were doing voices for other characters who were doing them. Mm-hmm. But I did notice that Ferb, who's the one who doesn't talk very much, right, is voiced by the actor who was the adorable little kid in Love Actually. So relevant to my interests.
Interesting. Okay.
Thomas Sangster. I think he has an extra name now, but that's what his name was back then. And of course, Ashley Tisdale.
Yes.
I was amazed I had not recognized her voice when I saw her name on the cast because, of course,
because that is one of your skills. I remember discussing that. That is like your secret talent.
Yes,
and
I should recognize
she's
that.
very good because she's not afraid to be ridiculous, which is what the character calls for. And it's a show where basically a variation on the same thing happens every time.
Exactly. Yes, I was going to mention that. It's just exactly the same formula. Right. I really enjoyed the fact that Phineas and Ferb are pretty much in control all the time. Nothing really ever actually goes against them, at least in the ones that I watched. And I'm fine with that. I think that's fun. That is just, it's like their world and they're just moving through it, doing their thing.
Right. And
everything goes fine.
They're so creative, right? I mean, I like that it celebrates their creativity and their breezy, of course it's going to work. Like they never doubt anything. And in almost every episode, someone says to them, aren't you a little young to be a landscape architect? And they all say, yes, I am.
Yeah,
just
they don't lie. They're never lying. They're never really tricking people. They're just doing their thing merrily along. And it's ridiculous, but fun and enjoyable. And I recognize the artwork. So I must have seen at least, pictures of it in the past. Mm-hmm. I don't remember ever seeing it. 2007 would have been past the time when I was watching cartoons with my kids. So I don't think that they ever watched it. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. And the whole little subplot that I guess they have every single time with the platypus and the evil guy.
Terri the platypus and Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
His nemesis.
Yes.
I think the Nemesis song was my favorite. But.
Yeah. My name. Yeah, they are in every time. And usually it's whatever innator that Dr. Doofenshmirtz is inventing in that week that somehow gets everything back to normal. Yes. That Phineas and Ferb have done, just in time for Candace to not be able to bust them. Yes.
That is fun. So I watched them more or less in a row and enjoyed them all. And that was fun. I would watch more.
Yeah,
if I had time to watch things.
Quite enjoyable, and
they're 10 minutes each, so it's really easy to just toss one in.
Just throw one on, and we even have a couple CDs of the songs. There's a whole Christmas CD
fun.
that was in heavy rotation around here for a while. Yeah, some of the music because it's very clever, the music.
It is very clever. And it would be listenable, too. It's not so gimmicky that you couldn't listen to it.
Right.
Again. Mm-hmm. I think we had a SpongeBob SquarePants CD for a while.
Yeah.
Which may have had that problem. But very fun. Thank you for introducing me to that. Yeah. That was very enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. Now, for next week's challenge round, I'm going to challenge you to watch an episode of Brothers and Sisters. I don't think you ever watched that series. Is that right?
No, I didn't.
Okay. This was on ABC a number of years ago about a wealthy family that drinks a lot of wine and has fights, but always comes back to loving each other because that's what we do. But I recommend everybody, if you're going to watch along with us and you haven't seen this, feel free to go on Wikipedia for season 1 and read everything. Read the introduction, read the general shape of the season, read all the character, descriptions. It will help you with this. It will not ruin this for you.
Okay.
This particular episode. I have selected an episode that was also inducted into the Extra Hot Great Canon. Ooh. We'll have a link to that episode in the show notes for people who want to listen to it. But I think it's fairly standalone. It benefits certainly from understanding all the relationships and having seen them develop. But I think it is sort of funny and ridiculous all by itself. Okay. It's one of the more farcical episodes rather than the more melodramatic ones, which is always fun. And just, Sally Field, Callista Flockhart, Rachel Griffiths, Matthew Rhys, really good acting.
Yeah.
Rob Lowe is in it playing a Republican, so we will be continuing our West Wing people in other roles after we watched Allison Janney and Juno. Right. Ron Rifkin, just really a good cast.
Yeah,
performing effortlessly well at this ridiculous family. So I think that you will enjoy it and find it amusing. And I invite everybody else to watch along with us. We will talk about that. It is the name of the episode, I guess I should say. The name of the episode is Something Ida This Way Comes. Okay. And it is season 1, episode 13.
Okay.
And so the Ida in question is an actress you will recognize and laugh.
Beforehand, read kind of what's happened up to that point. Okay.
It would not hurt you to read what has happened up to that point.
Gotcha.
And it may help some. I'm trying to think. I meant to watch it before we talked about it to see if you really needed it. I don't think you really need it. I think it will be fairly easy to follow without, but it would not hurt.
Okay.
So I recommend that. And that is it for our round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes, including our daily speed rounds and weekly group chats. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, Terri.
Goodbye, everybody.